Hey everyone, and welcome to the Milanismo Data Room, your go-to podcast for everything AC Milan. I'm Alice.
And I'm Paul. Today we're breaking down a huge game for the Rossoneri, Bologna versus Milan. This isn't just another Serie A match, Alice. This is a potential season-defining moment.
Season-defining how, Paul? Give our listeners the hook. What's at stake here?
Champions League qualification, Alice. Plain and simple. Milan is currently trailing Juventus by 8 points for that coveted fourth spot. A loss here, and those Champions League dreams could very well be over. We need to win, and win big. The alternative is unacceptable.
Okay. That's the pressure cooker scenario. So in this episode, titled Match Preview, Bologna versus Milan, Team News, Lineups, and Prediction, we're going to dissect Milan's Champions League hopes and all the relevant details. What can our listeners expect from our discussion today?
We'll start by looking at the high stakes for Milan, then delve into their current crisis, including that tough Champions League exit and recent league loss. We'll analyze Consecau's tactical choices, specifically that Fab Four dilemma up front. Then, we'll flip the script and examine Bologna's impressive home form, their historical record against Milan, team availability, Milan's struggles on the road, Bologna's European aspirations, and of course, let's not forget that this game was originally postponed due to flooding. It's a packed preview, Alice.
Wow, that's a lot to unpack. Let's dive right into it. Paul, you mentioned Milan's Champions League hopes hanging in the balance. How critical is this game, really?
Alice, it's do or die time. The Gazzetta dello Sport puts it bluntly. Milan is backed against the wall. Champions League or never again. That's the level of pressure here. An 8-point gap with Juventus for a Champions League spot with how few games remaining is a mountain to climb. If Milan drops points against Bologna, especially with Lazio also in the mix, it could effectively end their Champions League ambitions for next season.
Okay, so no pressure, right? Seriously though, is there any wiggle room here? Like even with a draw, could they still realistically make it?
Mathematically, yes, a draw keeps them in the hunt, but practically, it's a massive blow. It means relying on Juventus to drop points and hoping Lazio falters as well. Milan needs to control its own destiny, and that means winning. Draws are simply not good enough at this stage. This isn't about hoping, it's about taking. We have the talent and the need to impose our game.
So, to everyone listening, this is why this match has so much hype. We need to start winning, guys. What if AC Milan does not qualify for Champions League? What are the implications?
Huge implications, Alice. First, the financial hit. Champions League football brings in massive revenue, from ticket sales to broadcasting rights and sponsorships. Missing out would force the club to potentially rethink its transfer strategy, maybe even sell key players to balance the books. Also, missing Champions League impacts a team attractiveness. Second, player recruitment. Top players want to play in the Champions League. It's the pinnacle of club football. Missing out makes it much harder to attract world-class talent and retain existing stars who might be tempted by offers from Champions League clubs. You know, the future of AC Milan is at play in this match.
Okay, makes sense. Now let's talk about this so-called crisis. Milan was knocked out of the Champions League playoffs and lost to Torino. Is Consecau feeling the heat?
Absolutely. The pressure is mounting. Remember, Consecau came in with the mandate to deliver Champions League football and compete for silverware. The Champions League exit against Feyenoord was a major setback, and the loss to Torino, a team in the bottom half of the table, was unacceptable. According to reports, Consecau slammed his team for conceding from unforced errors in that Torino match. That tells you he knows things need to change, and fast.
Unforced errors, huh? Sounds like he's pointing fingers. Is the team on board with his tactics and leadership, or are we seeing signs of a fractured locker room?
That's the million-dollar question, Alice. There are whispers that some players are unhappy with Consecau's constant tinkering with the lineup and his sometimes abrasive style. The Gazzetta mentions that Consecau is known to make late decisions about the starting 11, which can create uncertainty and disrupt team chemistry. And, you know, when results aren't going your way, those little cracks can quickly turn into gaping holes.
So the Fab Four, what's the story? Is Consecau really considering benching some of his biggest attacking names?
That's the big tactical dilemma, Alice. The Fab Four, Pulisic, Leao, Felix, and Reijnders are all incredibly talented, but playing them all together can leave the team unbalanced, especially in midfield. The Gazeta suggests Conceição is considering sacrificing one of them. João Felix seems the most likely candidate to bring in more steel and work rate with Fofana and Musa in midfield. It's a tough call because you're taking away attacking firepower, but you might gain more control and stability in the middle of the park. It is a very important balance. A great attack is useless if the midfield does not know how to support it.
Okay, so if you were Conceição, what would you do? Do you unleash the Fab Four and go for broke? Or do you prioritize balance and risk sacrificing some attacking flair?
Personally, Alice, I'd lean towards a more balanced approach, especially away from home. Bologna are a tough team to break down, and you can't afford to be overrun in midfield. I'd probably start with Fofana and Musa alongside Reijnders, with Pulisic, Leao, and one of Felix playing further forward. It gives you a solid base to build from, and you still have plenty of attacking options on the bench if you need to change things up. Also, the weather may play a key role. The more defensive players that are also strong physically might be key to winning the match.
All right, let's switch gears and talk about Bologna. They're playing at home, and their recent form at Stadio Renato Dall'Ara has been impressive. How much of a factor is that home advantage?
It's huge, Alice. Bologna has won 6 of their last 8 Serie A home games, including 3 in a row. They've turned their stadium into a fortress, and they're a very difficult team to beat in front of their own fans. They have a different attitude when playing at home, and even the statistics show better numbers. They can beat anyone at home, and they need to take advantage of this statistic.
But Milan has historically dominated this fixture, right? Does that past success give them any kind of edge? Or is it irrelevant given the current circumstances?
Historically, Milan has a very strong record against Bologna. But as they say, form is temporary, class is permanent, and the past is the past. Bologna hasn't lost at home in 2025. They have not lost at home, and that statistic is very important. They are very confident playing at home, and the fans are with them. Milan needs to be aware of that.
Let's talk about team news. Who's in? Who's out for both sides?
For Bologna, the only significant absence is Emile Holm. For Milan, Ruben Loftus-Cheek and Kyle Walker are out injured. That means Alex Jimenez could start at right back again. Missing Loftus-Cheek is a blow. He provides a lot of energy and creativity in midfield.
Milan's away form this season has been shaky. Only 1 win against teams with 30-plus points and 4 losses in their last 5 away games. Why are they struggling so much on the road?
It's a combination of factors, Alice. Firstly, Milan tends to be more cautious away from home, sacrificing some of their attacking intent. Secondly, they've struggled to adapt to different playing styles and tactical setups on the road. And thirdly, and perhaps most importantly, they've made too many individual errors in crucial moments. Those errors are amplified when you're playing in a hostile environment.
You also mentioned Bologna's European ambitions. How high are they aiming, and how important is this game for them in that context?
Bologna is dreaming of Europe, Alice. A win against Milan would catapult them into the European qualification zone, potentially for the Europa League or even the Champions League. This is a massive opportunity for them to make a statement and show that they're serious contenders for a European spot. This might be a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for them. This is also important for AC Milan to show the other team who commands in Italy.
All right, Paul, time for a prediction. Who wins this match and why?
This is a tough one, Alice. On paper, Milan has the better team, but Bologna's home form and Milan's away struggles make this a very even contest. A draw wouldn't change much for either side, especially Milan, who desperately need 3 points. However, Italiano's men have proved hard to beat on home turf this season. Despite Bologna's notoriously disappointing home league record against Milan, this feels like a prime opportunity for the hosts to defy history and return to the win column. I am confident that AC Milan has a slight edge and will impose the history and the talent of the team to win the match. My final prediction is a 2-1 win for Milan, but it's going to be a nail-biter.
A nail-biter indeed. Okay, Paul, let's wrap things up. What are the main takeaways from our preview today?
Milan's Champions League hopes are on the line, and they need a win against a tough Bologna side playing very well at home. Conceição has a tactical dilemma with the Fab Four, and his team needs to overcome their away struggles to secure a vital 3 points. The pressure is immense, but that pressure can also be a powerful motivator. This match has everything for any sports fans.
Well said, Paul. So, to all our listeners, what do you think? Can Milan pull off the win and keep their Champions League dreams alive? Or will Bologna continue their impressive home form and dent Milan's hopes? Let us know your predictions in the comments.
Don't forget to follow Milanismo Data Room wherever you get your podcasts for more in-depth AC Milan analysis. Forza Milan.
Thanks for tuning in. Until next time. Ciao!